Production accountants are essential to the entertainment industry, managing crew payroll and ensuring productions run smoothly. In Beyond the Budget, we'll explore their career journeys and share insights for aspiring professionals in this vital role. Today, I'm thrilled to chat with Marvin Hernandez, a seasoned production accountant with over a decade of experience, including roles as first and second assistant on projects like How to Get Away with Murder and Little Fires Everywhere. Welcome, Marvin.
Thank you.
So glad to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us how you got started in production accounting.
Yeah, so I actually started out as a finance runner at ABC Studios. So what that was is basically sort of a PA for the finance department. I would take the correspondence from the studio to the shows because at the time, we were using hard copy paper.
Right.
So I would take the correspondence to the shows and vice versa. Mm-hmm. And I was doing that for a few years till one day they kind of asked me, if I wanted to be on a show. And I said, of course, yeah, I'll try it out. And I was hired on a show with a great team who was consistently and constantly working. Yeah. So I was really lucky with that. Mm-hmm. And was hired as a clerk and did a pilot and a series with them. And then moved up to be a second, did like 2 seasons of a show, and then eventually kind of became a first.
Yeah.
And then not too long ago, I was offered the opportunity to be the production accountant alongside a controller.
Right.
So, I've been doing it for a while.
Yeah. How many years is that?
It's been like 15, 16 years. Yeah.
And did you have a background in accounting or finance, or did you study that in school?
I didn't. I actually just, I went to school for TV and film. Mm-hmm. I wanted to do something behind the scenes. I wanted to work in the industry. I just didn't really know what it was.
Right.
I ended up getting this job, just kind of submitted my resume as a runner. Mm-hmm. I got hired and I just figured I'd figure out what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And I kind of landed on accounting and I just enjoyed it and I just stuck with it.
So which project has been your favorite to work on? I know that's like asking a parent what their favorite child is, but no.
I mean, it's been like so many projects that I worked on. I think probably the location ones have been the fun ones to do. Because, in LA, there's always that chance that you kind of work with the same group of people on a show.
Right.
Where on location, you're kind of just the odd man out. You're coming into their territory. Mm-hmm. So it's always great to like connect with new people. So I would probably say that the show I probably had the most fun on was the show I did in the DR.
Uh-huh. Dominican Republic?
The Dominican Republic, yes. Yeah. And I think it's mainly because most of my team was remote. We had 2 other individuals there that were part of my team. And so we were literally stuck on an island, try to make things happen, make things work. And, everything about the Dominican Republic was just awesome. The food, the culture, the music.
Yeah.
So we really kind of didn't let that work consume us. And so we were able to really kind of like do stuff on the weekends.
I think that's the ideal situation, right?
Yeah.
You're working just enough and you can still have some fun and like experience the culture and get out and enjoy where you are.
The show is really challenging.
Of course.
So we didn't want to let that sort of weigh us down.
Right.
So we kind of took the opportunity to really just go out and explore.
Right. Was that during COVID?
That was the tail end of COVID. So we still had to get tested, still had to abide by, COVID protocols, procedures. Mm-hmm. So we did kind of run into a couple of COVID cases with cast and directors. So we did have to push.
Sure.
So it was an interesting way to finish the show.
Yeah. Things like that happen. You have to pivot. You have to change. Dates change. And that's such a part of a production accountant job to kind of navigate all of that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You have to come up with solutions and ways to kind of see how we can get to where we need to go.
Right. And how about digital workflow? Were you all digital on that show? I would imagine being so far away, that would be the easier way.
Yeah, so everything was digital. Like I said, we did have a remote team. It took a little adjusting to.
Sure.
I mean, as it does for any sort of new thing. Mm-hmm. But I think now I'm pretty much like a pro at it, I think.
I bet. I heard you have 3 monitors.
I do. I feel like a gamer. But, I think it's essential now that, with everything being so digital, it's just the more monitors, the better.
Yeah. I work like that too.
Yeah. It's just the greatest thing ever.
Yeah. And then I date myself when I say when I started in this business, I had a fax machine instead of.
Yeah, no. I don't know how people just work with one monitor, to be honest.
Right. Yep. Yeah. All right. So tell me, What's the best part of the job? What you enjoy the most? I know you said you love to travel, that was really exciting.
I think I enjoy the troubleshooting, the problem solving, the getting to meet new people on a job. Every show is sort of unique in the problems that they present.
Yeah.
So I feel like each show kind of prepares you for the next one because it's almost like a video game. You pass one level and then you get to the next level where there's like 2 masters or whatever.
Right.
I really kind of enjoy the idea because it makes my brain sort of work and it just kind of keeps me on my toes, just keeps my memory fresh, you know? So I really enjoy that part of it.
Yeah. It's the same thing every project, but then it's not. You encounter new problems. Like,
Yes.
you're going to enter POs, you're going to cut checks, but every scenario can be different.
Well, absolutely. And not only that, but you always kind of come in with a plan.
Yeah.
Like today, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then some email comes in, someone comes in to ask you a question and it just kind of throws everything off.
Right.
So then the whole day you're trying to put out that fire and then try to go back to your plan. But, you know, sometimes it doesn't work out that way.
Yeah. Life is like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, here's a question. What's something you've learned on the job that you wish you'd known earlier?
Payroll.
Really?
So I didn't really know anything. Obviously, like I said, when I started out, I didn't really know anything about accounting.
Yeah.
And now that I kind of see how payroll is such a big part of, you know, budgeting, of like hot costs, just accounting in general.
Right.
I kind of wish that when I was a clerk, I would have kind of spent a little bit more time in payroll.
Sure.
Because I think being a clerk, you're in that zone where you're kind of able to kind of, you know, hop from the two, from AP to payroll. Whereas once you start kind of advancing, like as a second and like a first, you kind of like veer away from payroll.
Yeah.
So I kind of, in retrospect, wish that I would have sat there and, you know, observed and absorbed probably information because at the time I was just limited to filing.
Yeah.
I didn't even process extras at the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
didn't get to see that side.
And payroll is such a huge part of what production
It
accountants
totally
do.
is.
It's a huge part of the budget. It's critical. The rules are always changing. The unions and guilds are variables. It's just, it's a lot to master.
It's such a big like job. And the one thing you learn is like, you don't mess with people's money.
Exactly.
Because they will come after you, even if you miss a nickel or whatever.
I know.
So yeah, I kind of do wish that I had more time with them.
Yeah. Would you have any advice for those starting out at the industry? I feel like you got your start in like a traditional way that maybe people now in this day and time don't really have the opportunities.
What's really sort of important is just networking. And I feel that because of COVID, you kind of lost that. Everything's just an email or like a Zoom call or whatever. So I think that if you ever have the opportunity to just go to like a mixer or like some sort of event with like industry professionals, it'd be a great way to kind of make an impression. Because I have to say that even when I started out as a runner, I always made sure to kind of like connect with the accountants and accounting teams.
Right.
So that way I can kind of learn more about them and their journey. So throughout the years, we've always sort of kept in touch. So every time that they needed somebody, you're like, hey, are you available? Or, hey, I have a friend who needs somebody or whatever. So it's always really important to just kind of make those connections and have that sort of human interaction.
100%. Yeah. Even as we've progressed and we're more digital and everything, we're in this different workspace. The connection, the relationship, that's kind of what lasts and gets you through, like you said, the next job or the next phone call.
Human interaction is just so important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like, I think you lose that behind the screen.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We're
Thank you.
so glad you could be here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, your time, and for always looking out for me. Thank you.